It's the front porch. That's where we begin. That means offensive lineman Connor Lanfear is here. A little rugged matchup last Saturday, but you better be ready. It's probably going to be pretty rugged again this Saturday in Florida.
That's SEC for you. Great competition week to week.
Has the body, you getting banged up at this point? You got the off week coming, so you got to go all out this week.
I'll just tell you, I am very happy that the bye week is next week. I'm a little beat up.
But you get one of them. You get one of them fancy first class seats on the plane, though, don't you?
Oh yeah, lifesaver, absolute lifesaver.
What do you think? Oh, I can't. You have to introduce your guest, and then I can ask him about what he thinks about that. Yeah.
Who do you have? Who do we have?
Well, today I brought a Florida native. He actually kicked his career long this past weekend. I brought a good buddy of mine, Daniel LaCamera. Happy to have you here, man.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I like he's shown some special teams love this year. Trapuka's been on.
Absolutely.
Daniel LaCamera now.
He knows. Not for you.
He knows field position's important.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Putting points on the board with the place kicker.
Where are you on the plane? You get window, aisle? You in the middle? How does that work?
They kind of throw all of the specialists in the back. And
get to hang out with
although we do get in the 3 seats section, we each get there's no one in the middle seat. So it's basically first class.
Okay.
Just a little less leg room.
I have to sit next to – I don't know if it's Will. Will's usually in front of me. I like to kick his chair on the whole ride up there.
Nice. It's like a 3-year-old behind me. Yeah. Screaming, kicking chairs, disruptive. Ruins the whole flight. It's a longer flight, too, I got to deal with.
Yeah. How long is this flight exactly?
It's a little over
Daniel,
2 hours,
home.
I think.
2.5.
2.5?
Not too bad.
Yeah. Daniel's out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. We were talking. It's over near the Tampa area. And I tell you what, this is going to be an interesting dynamic in the stands at the Swamp with Daniel's parents. 2 University of Florida grads going back into the Swamp, probably wearing some maroon this time.
Absolutely.
Their friends are going to have some questions for them, aren't they?
The rest of my family will probably be halfway rooting for Florida, halfway rooting for me, but my parents are definitely going to be fully Aggies. This game.
Now, how many tickets did you have to procure for this game this weekend? How many favors did you call in with the teammates?
Well, so far, Connor helped me out. He gave me 2, which is very awesome. But I've already put in 8 tickets, and I still need 8 more.
Wow. We should claim ours, Matt.
I got to think that
are there rules against that? I know you got to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can't do.
Thanks for that violation, Will.
It's not a violation. We're going to nix it. We're not going to do it. You can't
have them. I got to think, with the game being this far away, you might have a little better opportunity in getting tickets from some of your teammates.
Absolutely, yes. It's a good situation.
Get to Trapuka, some of those guys, to Fry. So you tell them, you got guys, help me out.
I'm still trying.
We got Connor Lanfear and Daniel LaCamera with us on the front porch. Texas A&M is at Florida on Saturday night. Daniel going back to his home state. And I did ask him before we started. I didn't know immediately the parents were Florida grads. So, over there in that state, it's kind of like Texas. Here you can root for the Aggies or the Longhorns. Over there you can root for the Gators, the Seminoles, the Canes. But you immediately said no Noles.
No Seminoles. No.
Get them out.
Absolutely not.
So
that's one thing that stuck with me.
Still over in Texas, can't root for the Seminoles.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Over in the Austin area growing up, you were kind of in the Horns' backyard over there.
I really was.
And heavily recruited by him, too.
Mm-hmm.
And
I definitely was, yeah.
You had to stare the enemy in the face for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, a little bit. I got my first offer, which was from Texas. Man, I was probably like 15, 16 years old. I didn't know anything about recruiting. I had never, gone on like a visit or anything like that. So when Mac Brown came up to me, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna offer you today." I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. I didn't know that you were supposed to sit back and look at your options. I thought you get an offer, you take it. But right in the Horns' backyard. But I will say I am definitely glad I ended up here.
Yeah, no doubt. And when did A&M jump on the radar?
Well, see, I was always a big fan of A&M growing up. My sister went here and graduated from here, previously. So I always rooted for A&M, but they didn't really know about me in the beginning of the recruiting process. So I kind of felt like, well, if A&M's not going to offer me, then I guess I'll just go to Texas, Mm-hmm. And sure enough, A&M came in and offered me after, Mac Brown was on his way out, and and Charlie Strong came in, and I visited here and just fell in love with it. You know, there's no other place I wanted to be.
Yeah.
What about you? I mean, your story's been told before, but how does A&M get on your radar? How do the Aggies find you?
For a while, I mean, growing up, I really didn't even watch A&M football. I was just Florida strictly. But then Coach Banks flew down to watch me kick one day, and my dad and I were like, okay, we'll do some research into A&M. And after we did our research, we were like, we definitely have to go there. And when we did, it just blew me away because Florida has great traditions. They have great fans, but A&M is just something different. It's the best in the SEC, the best in the nation. That's why I came here.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, just like a kicker, huh? Analytical, doing a lot of research.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Thinking out every different.
I swear, as he's walking out on the field, he's thinking about a parabola going through the, the uprights, all these little mathematical equations in his head.
It's all about angles and force.
Very analytical. Whereas I just, run up and put my hand on the ball. I was like, all right, who am I hitting in the face? That's my job.
Daniel, what's the longest field goal you think Connor could kick? What do you give him?
Well, I haven't seen him, but I'll give him a 25-yarder.
You're being very generous.
First, he's got to get it off the ground.
Yeah,
yes.
I was going to say, I might just pop a hammy or something. Running, not even kicking, just running up to the ball.
But, special team, it is so intricate. You have such a routine that you go through. What can you share with me, Daniel, of, think of when Shane Trapuka, your holder, hits a knee and you're stepping off where you're going to start the kick from. Is there something that's in your mind every time, a routine that you go through while you're taking the steps back, taking the steps left? Is there always a routine in your head as you do that?
I always tell myself the main things I've been focusing on this year is if I have a jab, a plant, or a drive and a plant step. And I've been struggling with my jab step with the distance, and that usually affects the kick in the long run. So I'll remind myself, short jab, head down, and plant wide. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think before I kick it. And it usually reminds myself to focus on those things.
Yeah, and then the 52-yarder Saturday against Alabama. When you hit it, are you a guy that lights into a kick and says, I got it, maybe I didn't get it? I mean, do you know it when you hit it, and did you on Saturday with the 52-yarder?
Usually I will know it pretty well, before I even pick up my head. But that one, I knew I hit it straight, and I knew I had a chance. It was close, but if you saw me on the film, I was jumping up and down just like a bowler would when they lean left if they want it to go another way. Just unconsciously did that.
Uh-huh. And they got it. It was the first lead anybody's had on Alabama in 6 games. But, Connor, I wanted to talk to you about that because it's a defeat, and you guys aren't into defeats. And Coach Sumlin said it in the locker room, no moral victories here. But, look, the bottom line is that team has pretty much blasted everybody they played. You guys hung with them for 4 quarters. Do you take something from Saturday night, even though in the end it was a narrow defeat?
I mean – we proved to everyone else out there, because we always knew we could, but we proved to everyone else that we can hang with the best of them, and of course we want to come away with the win. And when a lot of people come up to us and say, oh, good effort, you guys played so good, it kind of feels like they just thought we would have gotten, annihilated, wiped out. And, we knew from the start we've got a chance to win this game. Mm-hmm. But the takeaways are more positive than negative, I would say. Even though it was a loss, we proved to everyone else out there that we can hang with the best in the nation.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, for you too, as you big picture with this group, after that first game, Coach has said every week we have gotten better, step, getting better. How proud are you of this team for being able to do that, especially through that adversity of that first game?
I'm very proud, especially because we have a lot of true freshmen playing, and it's these games, especially these SEC games, they're high pressure and they're handling it. It was good that we started off and continuously got better, because these games are getting harder, and the true freshmen and even the upperclassmen handling it very well, and we're truly getting better every week.
Yeah, and that youth, I mean, it's so key, because it kind of is a smattering of young guys at each position unit. And I know there is on the offensive line because you guys get spelled sometimes, Connor, by a young offensive line to get them some reps, give you guys some rest. Do you guys think, if you're 4-2, so it's 6 games, it's halfway through the season. Do you think now is when a team that has a lot of youngsters can really start to roll? The back half, and there's a little more maturity, there's a little more experience, and now is there a chance to get rolling here in the
Without a
back half?
doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, we've talked about it in our meeting rooms. At this point in the year, the young guys and rookies are not rookies anymore. They've got that experience. They've played in these games. They've played in these venues. So the second half of the season is really when you'll start to see a lot of those underclassmen come into their own. And even though they've already been performing at a very high level, kind of take their game the next step. You know what I'm saying? And step into more of a veteran role. Mm-hmm.
Connor Lanfear, Daniel LaCamera with us on the front porch, Texas A&M at Florida on Saturday night. Looking forward to our, these trips that we take. People talk about SEC scheduling all the time. One of us, you like to go to these venues. You like to check them out. And we were kind of saying before we started, Georgia, I don't know when we're getting to Georgia. You guys may not even be on a roster anymore. When are we going to Tennessee? But I don't know if this rings as much true with you, Daniel, because you've actually been in the stadium. But just new venues, getting to see them. It's your opportunity to go to the Swamp. We know about it. It's a heralded venue. Just getting to do that once this year. You got the chance to play in the Rose Bowl. Getting to go to the Swamp. Does that add excitement for you guys when you get a chance to do this?
I mean, you grow up watching games in these places as a kid, and, you never dreamed that you'd actually be on that field one day. So it is kind of neat when everything comes full circle and you remember being a kid and watching those games on Saturdays, and now you're one of the guys on the field. It is a neat experience, and it does add a little bit of excitement for myself. Yeah.
Now, you went to a camp in the Swamp, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So have you been to a game, a Gator game? I guess mom and dad may have taken you.
I've been to multiple games, yes. It's a great feel there. It's a great feel at any place because, growing up for me, I was a big soccer player, and so I always thought soccer was the route for me until freshman year of high school, and I realized, wait, I have a chance at this kicking thing. So when Connor says you don't dream about you dream about it, I didn't even imagine it. It wasn't even I would watch football, but I never would have ever expected myself to be playing in these big stadiums on this big stage. But now it feels like another game.
Mm-hmm. Now, you know what we got to ask, right? Talk a little hunting and fishing here. This
Oh,
is
yeah,
the Florida guy.
Yeah.
You fisher at all? You ever do any of that stuff?
I fished very rarely, but no offense to my dad, but he's not much of a fisherman himself, and so I never really learned how to fish that well. I mean, I know put the bait on, cast it out, and reel it in, but that's about it.
What do you think?
Here's your teacher right here.
What do you think this guy would do if you had him on a boat and it's in the evening and you see those red eyes about 20 feet away?
He might be a little bit rattled, as I think most people would.
I would be, yeah. I would be, no question.
Right.
Well, yeah, we're looking forward to it on Saturday night, guys. And like I said, here's your teacher right here, Daniel. Dad doesn't need to teach you. I mean, you got the godfather of the outdoors on the football team right here, It's some excursions, So get with him. He'll treat you right. He's got that already.
All right.
Off week next week, maybe get some time.
Without a doubt, yeah. I'm heading to South Texas during the weekend to go see if I can't stick an arrow in something. So, that'll be fun.
All right. And then Matt and I are waiting for maybe a season-ending meal, a feast of all this stuff.
I'll bring if I get a deer this weekend, which I'm fairly certain I will. I'll bring in one of my little specialties. How's that sound?
With a side of gar.
I'll be sick that day.
Yeah.
I'll be out.
Guys, all the best in Florida. Thanks so much for the time.